We are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member of that site, my goodness, you are missing out. If you're a recruiting fan, it's an absolute disgrace that you're not a member to Auburn Live on 3. $25 now, nothing else until September. That's like, 10 months. My math's not great, but I think it's 10 months. A lot going on this weekend, folks. Recruiting-wise, Auburn picked up 3 commitments today. I feel really good about at least 3 more, and all 3 are transfers. We'll get to that and more. First, want to welcome in my cohorts, Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston, Mr. Keith Niebuhr, and Mr. Zach in the back. How about you, fellas?
How about you?
How about you?
Can we describe today in one word?
Please.
Can it be Yahtzee?
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
Wow. What a day. What a day. 3 commitments. Sylvester Smith, 4-star defensive back from Montford, Alabama, flipped his commitment early this morning after visiting Auburn yesterday. He flipped it from Tennessee. Rivaldo Fairweather, stud from everything I heard. Tight end transfer from Florida International University, committed to Auburn. And then Stephen Johnson, a little before him, the defensive lineman from Whitewater, Georgia, flipped his commitment from Arkansas to Auburn. 3 very good pickups. And, Keith, I think it moved Auburn up to top 27?
Yeah, up to number 27 in the rankings. I mean, still not where the Auburn family wants it, but, it's 38 just 7 days ago. So up from number 38 to number 27. And, look, we knew this wasn't going to be a top 10 class. Transitional classes, when you fire one guy and move into the next, never are. You're just trying to find – let's just be honest. If you can find 5 or 6 guys in a transitional class that end up being significant players – you've done well. It's always going to be about half of what a normal class is. That's just the way it is. But yeah, they've done well. I think Sylvester Smith was a big one because 2 days ago, nobody really thought that was coming. We knew he had interest. Cole had reported on him and said, he has interest and they're still communicating with him. But it turns out they re-offered him last Monday. He didn't put it out there. All right. I didn't see it anywhere. And then he visited Saturday morning. Didn't really know about it. Jhead got wind of it, let us know. Am I supposed to give that away? Or what? But anyway, we made So anyway, we made some calls. We got it confirmed. It's not something he really wanted out there, so we didn't make a huge deal of it. But I can tell you guys, Tennessee did not know that visit was coming, and that's always a bad sign. Always a bad sign for the other program. So he decommitted last night, got home, he called Tennessee, told them I think his heart just kind of wasn't with Tennessee and it was with Auburn and committed this morning. So that was really the big one I thought of the 3.
Would you like a little background on that, Keith, on sort of where I figured out he might be interested in Auburn? At the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game, I was at some practices at the game, talked to him a bunch. Wanted to let him know, man, I think you're doing well. You're playing corner, safety. You're doing a lot out here. And we talked, and I figured, let's interview. Let's see what we got here. And he said, yeah, I'm committed to Tennessee. I'm pretty strong with Tennessee. I said, now you had some interest in Auburn. Wesley McGriff is, you know who he is. That's now at Auburn. Zach Etheridge. I said, if they came calling for you, how would you react to that? And he goes, took him a minute, right? Had to think about it. I said, I'm just going to take it day by day. I said, okay.
He said they'd been talking to him for about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks, things started to heat up. And, we thought, the timing was interesting, Jeffrey, because remember, we learned Friday night that another safety commit, Terrence Love, was visiting Georgia Tech. And so was this a reaction to that? Apparently it wasn't. They want both of them in the class. This was kind of planned and it just sort of leaked out there. But, it was a big pickup.
Big pickup. A lot of big moves were made today as far as transfer portal goes. I thought the biggest moves made were with Ben Scott, with Elijah McAllister, the transfer outside linebacker edge from Vanderbilt. Ben Scott, the center. Auburn likes him at center.
Yes.
He's from Arizona State, just a really versatile lineman. And I thought Auburn made a huge move for Dylan Wade, the left tackle from Tulsa, coached by Philip Montgomery. And I kind of feel like Auburn is the team to beat for those 3. And I probably would throw Dylan Johnson in there as well, the running back from Mississippi State. Dude, what a high character kid. Really, really good. Those 4 guys 3 other transfers on campus today: Ra Thomas, Devin Leary, the quarterback, and Walter Rouse, the Stanford tackle. Didn't talk to Ra. Have heard good things about it. Didn't talk to Leary. Have heard good things about it. Talked to Rouse, and it's still early in his recruitment. Dude's got options from coast to coast. He's not ready to name any favorites. He just entered the portal on Friday, and 24 hours later, Auburn threw a visit at him. He said, "Yes, sir, I'm on my way." And he came in, had a really good visit. So those are 3 guys to keep an eye on. But I feel like the 4 that I'm really going to be tracking moving forward. Well, I would throw Ra Thomas in there as well.
Absolutely.
I think it's Auburn, Georgia right now, and Ben Scott, Elijah McAllister, Dylan Wade, Dylan Johnson. I feel really good about Auburn with all 4 of those guys, and would be, man, I love what the staff's doing. They're actually going after needs, right? They're just not going after, just random guys who have interest in Auburn. They're going after their needs. Cole, the offensive linemen that were on campus this weekend, dude, and not even – I'm talking about Elijah McAllister is a grown-ass man.
Yes.
Grown-ass man. Dylan Johnson, you can tell you could just tell the difference between the transfer sitting over here by the elevators and the high school kid over here. Even the high school kids, they walk in and you go, oh, that guy's he looks good on the hook. You turn around and look over here at this 21-year-old transfer, and it's just a completely different ballgame, which explains even more why you don't want a true freshman starting at some of your most important positions. But, Cole, I thought the offensive line group that was on campus this weekend was impressive.
Man, if you can pull 2 or 3 guys out of that group, you're going to have a decent offensive line next year. They're ready to go. They're not, they don't need much seasoning. They're ready to go.
Ben Scott at center and Dylan Wade, although he played left tackle, and he says Auburn's recruiting him to play left tackle. And hell, I wouldn't doubt if he could play left tackle. But you look at him, and he's not 6'7". He's 6'4". He looks to me like an NFL guard. But he's not real. He's not real heavy. He doesn't have a lot of ass on him.
No,
so
not really.
But man, it's almost like you can see them how they're fitting these pieces into these needs and whatnot. Zach, are you ready to go, big dog?
Yeah, we got 2 guys on the.
Okay, my bad.
Get them on.
I will shut up.
5810. You're live, kicking off the show. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Fellas, Anthony from Montgomery.
What's up, Anthony?
Good lead off right here, folks.
Hey, my question is probably going to be for Cole. With the 2 JUCO tackles,
forgot about that.
Tackle for which individual are they looking at, or as Miller and Jada? And then let's say that we get Wade, Scott, and the kid from Stanford. Which one of the JUCO transfers would start? Like, what would the starting time look like with those guys?
All right, so you're saying that you get 1 transfer guy and the 2 JUCOs in this scenario, and we
get the transfer guy, we get the guy from Stanford, we get the guy from Tulsa, and we get the Arizona State. Well, quite he's gonna be a center, but let's say we get everybody. Who would be the one on the bench for them?
Yeah, if you get the Tulsa guy and the Stanford guy, those are your starters, I think, and then your 2 JUCOs probably the backups. So
I would agree.
Yeah, I would think they want to probably get the JUCO guys in first, so as quick as possible, so they don't get
they would get
because you're trying to build a 2 deep, and some guys are just going, I don't want to be sitting behind somebody if I could start somewhere else. Understandable. So they're going to try to get everybody in as quickly as possible, and I think if you get the 2 transfers, those guys are shoe-ins, I think.
Hey, good stuff, Anthony. We appreciate your call, man. Zach, keep us going, big dog.
3536. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
This is Ben from Huntsville, Alabama.
What's on your mind tonight, Ben?
I just got a few questions for you. How do you think the class will end up as far as the top 15, top 12 with the high schoolers?
Hey, what else you got for us, Ben? I'm gonna let Keith hit that
And
one.
I'm
These are
wondering with Drew Shaw and Smith. You know, there's a lot of chatter that they might choose Auburn. So what do y'all think about that?
all right, Ben. Hey, I'm gonna let Keith hit both of these guys. Maybe Cole can add some stuff on those Carver guys. Keith, team ranking finish, and also a little update on the Carver guys.
Yeah, I mean, 27th right now, getting into the top 15. I mean, going from 50 to 30, not that hard. Going from 27 to 14, 15, that's where it gets harder. Everybody's kind of bunched together. And those schools ahead of Auburn, especially once you get to 20, they have a lot of 4-star guys committed. Some have 5-star guys committed. So how can they get in the top 15? It's going to take a lot of work. Definitely going to have to flip a guy like Kayan Lee from Ohio State. Probably going to have to flip Tony Mitchell from Alabama. May have to flip Keldrick from Florida State. And then you're going to have to hit on all these other guys. All right. So there's still some 4-star guys out there that are going to give you a lot of points. Jhead, the JUCO OT. Isn't Miller a 4-star as well? The other JUCO OT. Tony, I'm drawing a blank here.
Mitchell.
Tyler Scott. Tyler Scott is not a 4-star. However, he's competing at the Adidas All-America game in San Antonio, where there's going to be a multitude of analysts out there watching him. If he has a big week, he probably will go up to 4-star. So you got to hit on all those guys. And quite frankly, if Auburn's in the top 15, you may have to wait till February for them to get there. It may be, okay, after Auburn sees what it gets this next week, and looking at the board, how many more are they going to take? You know what I mean? How many more are they going to take? Who's still out there? It's possible. I really think realistically, Auburn fans probably should be happy with anything inside the top 20 right now, because so much emphasis is getting put on the portal. These transitional classes, you know, from one guy's fired, another guy comes in. Hugh Freeze only been on the job a couple weeks. That's it. 3 weeks now, I guess. So that's just not a lot of time. Now, regarding Smith and Rousseau, the 2 5-stars, James Smith, defensive tackle Quay Rousseau, the 2 teammates and 5-stars at Montgomery Carver. James Smith, as Cole reported yesterday, visited Saturday. As far as we know, Quay Rousseau did not make it. I mean, nobody really knows where they're going, okay, other than if they know, then them and maybe their inner circle. I don't think any school really knows. I think the confidence level is probably a little higher at Alabama. History says that, that's probably the safer pick for us if we're making projections. But Auburn has fought and battled, and they kept visiting Auburn and kept Auburn in contention through 2 coaching changes at the top, multiple staff changes on the defensive line, coordinators gone, off the field people gone. So they must have liked Auburn somewhat, right? So to me, that says these guys gave Auburn a fair look. But at the end of the day, they're probably thinking it's a big leap of faith right now. James Smith said, hey, I love the vision that Hugh Freeze has presented, but it's still a leap of faith. Forget about what he did at Ole Miss and Liberty. Hadn't done anything at Auburn yet. And I'm sure that's what Alabama's telling them. Here's the track record. It's just the odds are against Auburn. I never rule anything out. The odds are against Auburn. And I'm telling you right now, if they land these 2 guys, Jeffrey, you've been covering Auburn recruiting a long time. I can't imagine a bigger moment in Auburn recruiting in your lifetime, okay, than if that happens. But right now, I'd put the odds at less than 50%, I would think. Maybe 30, 25.
Yeah. Exactly.
On the class ranking thing, we kind of weren't really accounting for Sylvester Smith. So that's an interesting addition there, because he is a 4-star and there's some points there.
Well, and there's some 3-star guys they're probably going to get. We think Braden Marshall from the defensive back, they're going to probably flip from UCF. CJ Johnson's a guy we think they could get a defensive back from Texas. But let me give you an example. When they picked up Steven Johnson today, the defensive tackle flipped from Arkansas. They went from 27th in the rankings to 27th in the rankings. There wasn't any gain. So at this point, you're looking at you probably need. Well, a 3-star can bump you up in the way the points are added up, but not as quickly as a 4-star. But we named about 6 or 7 4-stars that they got a really good shot at, and that I think people are starting to get a little excited as it inches closer to the top 20. Then the little bit more excitement will build. But
no,
15 before top 15 this coming week, I don't see it. Maybe in February. Maybe. What do you think, Jhead?
well, I was going to say, are they factoring transfers in this year with On 3? I know they're doing it 24/7. Are they doing it with On 3 this year?
Sorry, I got a text here.
Me too.
Conveniently get a text to the question. I don't believe when when you're looking at, oh my God, I can't. No, I'm kidding. Hey, how did
Tender off?
No, I don't think I've seen those guys on that list, on our list at On Three. They're going to have something. They're going to do something with it, but that's not being factored in, and it really shouldn't. And they really are two separate things.
I agree. I think doing a composite with transfers included is not necessarily fair to the overall process in and of itself, but they're still players, obviously, and they generate a lot of impact. I mean, in fact, if you're looking at rankings, Auburn had 3 top 25 transfer players on campus this past weekend.
Yeah,
absolutely massive.
Yeah,
absolutely massive. When you're trying to talk about a transitional class and getting an impact player of that capability, that changes kind of maybe how you see a transitional class potentially.
Yeah.
Zach, keep us rolling, big dog.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Auburn just lost to USC in basketball tonight, 74-71. Just wanted to update everyone on that because I was kind of
yeah, that's that meme, baby.
It's
when you said Auburn lost, I thought the next words were going to be a commitment.
Keith was getting ready to jump off the show right now. Zach, don't do that to him.
0177, you're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Jeremy from Enterprise, Alabama.
What's happening, Jeremy? What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
Hey, I got 2 questions, man. Hopefully y'all can give some little insight on these two guys that maybe y'all can tell me about. I know that I saw Devin Leary showed up, and he left. And then I heard some scuttlebutt about Grayson McCall and his, credit transferring over from Auburn. So my first question is, which quarterback does Auburn take as of right now? And maybe Jeff Lee has more intel on this or not. And then the second question, I know that Dylan Johnson and Rara Thomas are looking to be kind of a package deal to play together, possibly. Do you see Auburn getting both of them as of right now? But thank you for calling in, man, and War Eagle.
Appreciate you, Jeremy. Good stuff, man. That's a really good. We need to touch on those transfer quarterbacks. Both of those guys were at one point expected to visit. Grayson McCall, the transfer from Coastal Carolina, and Devin Leary, the transfer from NC State. Grayson McCall, last minute, after looking at transcripts, man, this progress towards degree. We talked about this last year. It cost Auburn some transfer options, and this looks like the latest casualty. From what I've been told, these guys, when they pick a major, and you've got to progress towards that, towards completing that degree. Well, if Auburn doesn't offer that degree, then all those credits towards that major are lost, and now you don't have enough credits to transfer. And this is something that Auburn, I was told last year, was working on fixing, but here we are a year later talking about the same thing. But Grayson McCall, from what I've been told, has about 30 credit hours that he would have to complete before August, before he could even come to Auburn, to transfer to Auburn. And the bad thing about this is that I was told from a very, very good source, he was coming. It wasn't about the visit; it was about him transferring to Auburn. He was coming to Auburn, or that was his initial plan. But they couldn't get that, couldn't get him academically qualified to transfer. So for right now, Grayson McCall, as far as I know, is off. Devin Leary is. He's the number 1 transfer quarterback in the portal, according to On 3. Auburn thinks he's the same. Auburn has him ranked the same place. They are very high on him. Cole, you've got some input on this. Why Auburn has Devin Leary higher than anyone else right now?
Yeah, I think they had. I think they had Grayson McCall and Devin Leary 1A and 1B. Right, these are your 2 guys. We're going to push for both of them, see what happens with both of them. Obviously, they thought Grayson McCall could come, but maybe they knew about this progress towards a degree. Maybe they had an idea or an inkling that it could be. And I don't think that's the reason they went after Leary. I think they were going to go after him anyway, from what I have learned. Leary is, as we've kind of talked about on the corner, he's just got a little bit more arm talent than Grayson McCall.
Yeah.
Now, McCall might fit what Hugh Freeze and Phil Montgomery want to do a little bit better because he can run, because he can make the reads, he can do the RPOs. But they probably have to tweak some things for Leary And that might be why they were willing to maybe take McCall first, so they could sort of punch him in and say, all right, this is what we're doing. We know what we're doing. With Leary, they got to change a few things around maybe because that's just how it works. If you're going to be a good coach, you need to fit to your quarterback. And I think they still like Leary is just as much. It's just, that was long, I would say. But I think he's got the arm talent that they're looking for, and he's the number one guy for a reason.
Likes to throw the deep ball.
Deep ball.
Yeah. And look, you're talking about a guy that was being evaluated by NFL scouts this time a year ago as somebody that could potentially be a top 3-round pick. I mean, he's that kind of talent level. Obviously, he sustained a pectoral injury, I think, this past year, which sidelined him.
Which I'm told Auburn's not really worried about that.
No, it's not like a shoulder or an elbow or something of that nature that's going to truly hinder him moving forward. This is a situation where he can easily gain traction back very quickly. And depending on when spring training happens, maybe he can get into the mix for spring and throw a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what his rehab process is going to look like. Cole, you probably have a better or a clearer picture of that. But as far as NFL talent is concerned, I think sometimes you just take talent and you figure out a way to mold your system around that guy. And he has absolute NFL arm talent. No question about it.
Yeah, I wish he would have talked today to us, but I completely understand. These transfers can be a little more quiet than the high school kids,
Sure.
Understandably so. Jeremy, your second question, Ra Thomas, Dylan Johnson. That's the first I'd heard of him wanting to be a package deal.
Yeah, me too.
I had not heard that, but we didn't see Ra. He was there this weekend, but he left inconspicuously.
I saw him yesterday, by the way.
You saw him yesterday.
He was definitely there Saturday. I know he went back to the hotel around 2:00 Saturday, so I think he came back and did the photo shoots and things of that nature.
Saw him on Twitter with Hugh Freeze.
There you go.
Dapping it up.
I will tell you, there is some real confidence coming out of Athens on him. There's also some real confidence and optimism. We're talking about Ra.
Yeah.
Confidence and optimism coming out of Auburn, and then Ole Miss is still obviously involved. And we know Lane Kiffin went to visit him last week. To me, so Auburn's picked up some nice commitments so far, right? You flip a guy from Tennessee, you're getting some guys. If you get Ra Thomas, though, you know that he is a priority for Georgia right now, which, by the way, didn't take anybody out of the transfer portal last year. Tells you what they think of this guy. It also means they have more needs now, but it tells you what they think about this guy. This would be, again, a seminal recruiting win for Hugh Freeze if he could pull this off. This one you look back and say, okay, he's ready to mix it up. Auburn is ready to mix it up again with Georgia, with Alabama, with, you know what I mean? And a win over Tennessee is good, don't get me wrong. But Tennessee just had its best season in like 20 years, okay? Georgia is the top.
They're the potential national champion again this year.
I was going to say top dog, but whatever. But
yeah,
so that would be huge. Okay. Forget it. Forget about what he brings to your program. Perception is so important these days, right? But they need guys that can play and that can elevate the program. I get it. But the perception right now is that Auburn just isn't going to get a guy from Georgia, that Auburn's competing against Arkansas and schools like that with decent programs, but not Georgia. So would be huge if they can pull this off. We're about to find out who's right with their confidence,
Dylan Johnson, on the other hand, Cole, I don't know if you was eavesdropping on that interview, but man, he was very impressed with Auburn.
I was with you.
said he was going to go to South Carolina, Louisville. Mm-hmm. I think Washington is somehow involved there, but I got to think Dylan Johnson will end up at Auburn unless something changes right now. Zach?
5960. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, man? It's Edward from Selma.
There he is.
What's up, Edward?
There he is.
How y'all fellas doing tonight, man?
Edward, we're doing great now that you're calling, man. What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
Man, old brother, he's doing some work down on the plane. Recruiting is back to the forefront. But I broke down a bunch of Baylor and Ron Roberts film, and it seemed like he likes to do a lot with his linebackers and safeties.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at what we currently have and what we're bringing in, I really think we have a chance to have a pretty great defense. But in my opinion, it's going to require some changes. What are y'all thoughts about guys like Zion Puckett and Caden Bridges moving down in the box? And I think Kevin Steele had a great plan with Cam Riley, being that we so shorthanded at the edge rushing position. And Baylor looked like they liked a lot of speed at the linebacker position. Could you see Cam Riley moving down, playing on the edge?
Jhead?
I think for Cam to move down on the edge, he's going to have to add a little bit more weight. I think he's still in that 230 range right now. I may have even dipped beneath that during the season, Edwards. So that's going to be a tough call for him. But let's see what he could be after another year in the strength and conditioning program. I do like your thought on Puckett moving down in the box some. I tell you what, I've been pouring over some of Robert's tape as well from his time at Baylor and also his time at Louisiana, which may be a truer look of what we're going to be getting because he had complete autonomy when he was at Louisiana. And you saw a lot of 4-2-5 with a safety in the sub package as the nickel. You saw a ton of that. And I think you could see Donovan Kaufman very easily slot into that spot as somebody who's physical that can play down in the box. They did some interesting things. Go ahead.
You read my mind because that was my exact thought. I could see Donovan Kaufman playing that star position.
Mm-hmm.
But a guy I can see moving back to safety is Keontae Scott. Jalen Simpson will have a big year if he stay and play the safety position under Ron Roberts.
I agree.
I hate to see him leave because I believe since he's been at Auburn, this system will really benefit him, man. It would have benefited him. It would have put all of his talents on full display. I really feel that way. But
I think so.
Man, it's great talking to y'all guys, man. I just wanted y'all opinion, man.
Thank you, Edward. Did Jalen declare?
Jeffrey, you're muted.
Yeah, Jaylee, you're muted.
I'm hitting the wrong buttons.
Did Jalen Simpson declare?
I'm so old.
No, I think he's coming. I think as far as I know, he's coming back now. I was told that if Etheridge wasn't there, that could be problematic. You know, he's tired of all these changes. Now, Etheridge, we think, would be coaching safeties, right? But he also likes McGriff too. So maybe if Zach wasn't, hadn't been, well, we don't know Zach's. We haven't heard definitively one way or the other.
Right.
Definitively. But now I think Simpson's there, and I think he does feel more comfortable at safety. And I believe he's told people that too.
He looks better at safety. I mean, he was an absolute playmaker for us down the stretch. And I think Keontae is going to slide out and play probably the boundary corner, and you'll have my main man from down here at Spanish Fort playing on the other side, Cole's favorite transfer corner from last year.
Of course, Jhead, they got to get better up front.
They do. 100% they do.
It doesn't matter how good those guys are if they don't figure something out up front, right?
I agree.
I think a lot of the bad linebacker play comes from that too, Keith. I think some of the you got to have a defensive line that keeps your linebackers clean if they're not going to be overly aggressive, and they weren't. So two things together there didn't work out for Auburn's defense. And on the note of Zion Puckett, Caden Bridges, yeah, they're physical, they're bigger guys. Man, it takes a certain personality to play linebacker. To me, Keontae Scott was. When he moved into the box and played linebacker, he played better than any linebacker that Auburn had last year. And he's the smaller guy.
I will disagree with you.
Hey,
has played some linebackers, so, we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
J2, appreciate your donation, but we're not asking for that, man. We appreciate that. We ask that everybody go to our YouTube page. That's all we want. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's free, and it's absolutely fun. It's fun to hit subscribe.
He heard Ball hurt a little bit.
Yeah. But could McCall graduate first and come after that? I don't know. Not that I know of. That hasn't been an option pitched to me. I've heard he's got until August to get 30-plus hours in. So that is not an option. What is an option, though, for you if you're looking for a home in or around Auburn, Opelika, or in Lee County? Give Jessica Andrews with eXp Realty a call, 334-704-4442. Does it all, folks. 5-star realtor, can buy it, she can sell it, investment properties, residential. Give her a call, 334-704-4442, and tell her we sent you.
Jeffrey, that was a hell of a transition,
You like
man.
that?
You ain't done that once or twice before.
The beach is that way.
Hey, can I add one more thing on the Grayson McCall question there, real quick?
Sure.
This is a total guess by me. Let's say that he could do what you asked, that he could graduate and Auburn could take him. I don't think they're willing to wait that long.
No.
So
They need somebody in the spring, man. And even Devin Leary can't throw in the spring.
Now, does he have 2 seasons left as well?
Just one.
He's just one. God, see, McCall was such a God. You could get 2 because he's not a guy that's going to go. You don't think going to go in the first round or anything like that. So you potentially could get 2 seasons out of him, right? I mean, but at least this buys you some time. This buys you some time. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I think we're going to see Auburn. Obviously, they're super active in the portal this year, and I think we're going to see it again next year. And then by the 3rd year, I think it'll be more evened out.
Lessen up.
Because I think they're going to have when you think about this, with this recruiting class, it looks like they're going to finish fairly well, but it's still not what we're used to seeing at Auburn, and neither was last year, and neither was the year before, and quite frankly, neither was the year before that. So to dig out of that hole, I think it's going to take a couple of years. But usually a head coach's first full cycle, they get a big bounce, a big boost because they're selling that vision. But anyway, I think we're going to see him active in the portal again next year, and we'll see if Holden Gerner develops. What's the future with Robbie Ashford? I mean, it's always about the quarterback position at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yep, it is
Completely.
Zach, keep us going, big dog.
4065. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is Alan calling from Sylacauga.
What's up, Alan?
What is on your mind tonight, Alan?
Yeah, I was wondering. Well, first of all, Hugh Freeze has been doing a great job recruiting, man. Love to see it.
I completely agree. And the difference between him and Harsin, they both got big dogs on campus, right? The difference between these two is he's getting results.
I was wondering, with McCall not visiting, we may not be able to get him, but Leary seems like a guy that we could get. But I was also thinking about Ashford. And we did not have the offensive line, as you guys know, last year. And I thought maybe this guy could do a lot better with the offensive line or offensive lineman that Hugh Freeze is bringing in. And do we give him a chance more, or do we try to get somebody from the transfer portal like Leary?
Okay. Alan, good stuff, man. I appreciate your call. I think anybody's going to be better behind an improved offensive line. That offensive line last year was not good. The problem with Ashford is that even when he had time, could he make the throws that needed to be made? Sometimes he could, but most oftentimes he couldn't. Now, with the year under Philip Montgomery and Kent Austin and Hugh Freeze, could they improve that? Yes, but they don't want to put all their eggs in that Robbie Ashford basket. That's just the bottom line. They are going after a transfer portal. They're going after upgrade on that quarterback room. They need people who can play, and they need people who can play now. The guys that are on the roster right now, neither one of them have proved that they can consistently play week in and week out and give Auburn a chance to compete for titles. And they're definitely going to be going after one. I'd be surprised if they didn't sign 2 out of the transfer portal.
Yeah, got you need to get to 4, right? I mean, you really need 4. So my guess is they'll probably try to take a younger guy out of the portal, somebody that they can kind of groom as a project, similar to how we took Robbie last year, not expecting him to have to be the man.
That would be a perfect guy. Robbie Ashford this year would be perfect from the portal.
Yes.
A freshman with 3 years of eligibility who's not dependent upon to come in and start. And I guess that was kind of the hope for Robbie, really. He was hoping that TJ was going to be a decent quarterback. That didn't turn out. So Robbie had to be thrown in there. But that's the kind of guy you're really looking for right now. To go with a guy like Grayson McCall or Devin Leary's only got the 1 year, but a younger guy would be a great pairing to that. Zach, keep us going, big dog. Appreciate your call, Alan.
0915. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Alman from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, but originally from Florence, Alabama. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well, man. What was your name again?
Dominic.
What's up, Dominic?
How y'all doing? Quick question for you all. What do you think is the biggest difference between the last staff and this staff in terms of recruiting, seeing all this interest from transfers, JUCO prospects, and high school prospects?
I'll give you the easiest one. Hope. Light at the end of the tunnel. There was just there wasn't any with Harsin. You talking about taking a leap of faith? Taking a leap of faith with Hugh Freeze is a lot easier than a kid taking a leap of faith with Brian Harsin at the helm. I really feel like that's the biggest deal, man. There is excitement, rejuvenated fan base, rejuvenated coaching staff, rejuvenated everything. The trend at Auburn is going up, and I think the recruits can feel that and sense that. And I think just the vibe has been completely changed at Auburn. Jhead?
So I think, number one, the first thing for me is, and I don't want to get off into bad-mouthing Harsin. That's not what I'm trying to do. But Hugh Freeze understands what it means to be a top-down recruiter. He puts an emphasis on it. And not only does he put an emphasis on it, but he has an innate ability to be very comfortable around a lot of people and be able to work that room and make you feel like you're the only person there. All right? There are certain people that have that flavor to them that can do that. Nick Saban can do that. Kirby Smart can do that. Those are guys that are very comfortable in a room and recruiting. Hugh Freeze is that guy. In addition to that, you're seeing organization from a recruiting standpoint. You're seeing, like Jay Lee said, hope with guys that believe, because Hugh Freeze has proof of concept everywhere he's been, whether it be Arkansas State, Ole Miss, Liberty. He's won everywhere. He's put guys in the lead. You can point to that. Guys that are starting on Sundays, you can point to that. There's all kinds, and I know Keith's wanting to jump in here right now, and I'm going to let him get at it.
With his check mix.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you. But I think the major thing to me is probably the head man understands what it's like to recruit in the SEC, what it's like to be in big-time battles, how you have to handle that. Coach Harsin was coming in from the Group of Five, where they were the dominant program in the Group of Five in their conference. How you recruit that level is significantly different. So I think there in and of itself is the biggest difference.
Absolutely. I was thinking bigger picture, but if you want to get it down to the nuts and bolts, Keith, jump in here, big dog.
You're muted, brother.
You're mute. You're on mute.
Dude, is he really? Does he not know?
You're on mute, Keith.
We can't hear you, big dog. We can't hear you.
Jay had mentioned proof of concept. Okay.
Oh boy.
And he makes a good point. So when you guys interviewed Rivaldo Fairweather, the tight end that committed today, who was the guy that they kept bringing up in meetings with him?
Evan
Ingram. Yeah. So Evan Ingram was a guy covered in high school in the Atlanta area, was a 3-star guy, went to Ole Miss, a lighter tight end, 6'3", 210 in high school, and ended up catching 100-plus passes, and then became a first-round pick and a very good player in the NFL. So he can say, you can sell that, and he can do that at a lot of positions. Hey, Robert Kindici on the defensive line, DJ Jones, I believe he signed, DK Metcalf. I was somewhere the other night watching TV, and there's DK Metcalf making some freakazoid catch, as he is known to do. So he's got guys. He's got a track record. Yeah. Now Boise State had some pretty good guys make the NFL.
Yeah,
but not a ton. And Ole Miss had more bigger name guys relevant to guys in the South. Kids in the South know these names. Kids in Atlanta, like Robert Kindici, never really was a star in the NFL, but they kind of know that name, right?
Sure.
And then Evan Ingram, obviously, if you're a tight end, every tight end knows that name. Every receiver knows DK Metcalf's name. Every offensive lineman knows Laramie Tunsil's name. Yeah. And you know Greg Little's name, right? Okay. So quarterbacks know Malik Willis's name.
Chad Kelly.
Line, he's got somebody that he can sell at every position. DB, you know who Wesley McGriff and Hugh Freeze can sell from Ole Miss? One of my favorites, Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton, nobody wanted the guy. Nobody wanted the guy. The teams that recruited him thought he was a running back. Ole Miss took him as a 5'9" corner. He's now a 6-year starter in the NFL, one of the best defensive backs out there. So across the board, there's that proof of concept, Jhead. It's not just wins. Wins are more important to guys like us. NFL is more important to guys that matter.
100.
Matter are the recruits and the transfers and their families.
No,
go ahead, Cole.
I was going to say, you better believe Robert Kindici's name was probably brought up with James Smith this weekend.
We
Blake
just
R.
need James to have a Denzel Kim Dichie to get him to Auburn.
Right.
Blake R. You're on my hit list, but not my shit. But not my shit list. There's a big difference. Appreciate you, Blake R. Keep us rolling, Zach.
9332. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
There we go. I'm about to get on the phone.
Hey, 9332. You could just talk right into the phone to us, man. You're live.
All right, what's going on, guys?
What's
Nothing
up?
much, man. Who we got on here?
This is Eric Matt from Little River one more time.
What's up, Little River?
Oh, shit, man. We just doing it. We're doing it like we do it around here, man. I love y'all show. Love what y'all doing. Thank y'all for what you got going on.
Appreciate you, man.
Sure.
Look, I just want to say I got some concerns from the running back room. Thinking that, the tank's going on, and who do we got coming in from the running back position that can press that ball down the field, and also who do we got coming in from linebacker that's going to be that dog, that cat on the field?
Hey, good stuff, big dog. We appreciate your call. Running back. So everybody pretty much knows by now Jeremiah Cobb. He visited again this weekend. Listen, the big news of the day with him was that he's not going to sign next Wednesday. He's going to wait until February. I will explain later, folks, but don't worry about that. All right, don't worry. Don't worry about that. I'll explain later. But Jeremiah Cobb is not going anywhere. As far as bringing somebody else in, we talked a little bit earlier about Dylan Johnson. Let me tell you about Dylan Johnson. I forgot about this. This morning, we're in the hotel lobby waiting on him to leave, and he's got a 4-month-old daughter. And he had her with, I think it was a daughter, maybe a son. It was a baby. Let's call it a baby. Yeah. I shouldn't assume gender.
There you go.
But look, So I saw this cat. I didn't know who it was at first, but he's walking down the hall and he's carrying a baby like this.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that dude got to be a running back. It was Dylan Johnson. It was Dylan Johnson.
He was on the football one.
He was carrying it under his arm like a freaking football. I was waiting on him to give me the stiff arm.
He had the the strap.
Oh yeah,
with the baby on right here.
Yeah, a harness.
Picture. He was like, "Hey, maybe I should take this off. What do you think?" Yeah. Well, it's up to you, man.
He's an awesome grown individual, but you bring in those two guys, Jeremiah Cobb and Dylan Johnson, and you have upgraded that. There's your 4, Jhead. Yeah, there's your 4 at running back with Jarquez, with Damari Austin, Dylan Johnson, and Jeremiah Cobb. That's a good looking running back room.
Yep. It really is, and probably as deep as we've been in years.
Absolutely.
I think Tank's freshman year we went through. Everybody got injured that season in the Alabama game. We were playing like our 5th string running back and Mark Anthony Richards, who's never been healthy.
Wow.
Hey, 4 running backs, you're needed. You go back to, Trey Smith back in freaking 2003, 2002, whatever it was. They went through 4 and had Trey Smith. But guess what? When you got a 4 deep running back room full of studs, you put in the freshman Trey Smith and look what he does. You don't lose much. As far as linebacker goes, Little River, Auburn doesn't have any commitments right now listed as a linebacker. But from what we've been hearing lately, I think there's expectations that Terrence Love, who Keith talked about earlier, going to Georgia Tech, Auburn still wants him. The reason they want him is because they believe he can move down and play in that linebacker position. Oh. I still don't think that's going to be it for Auburn in the linebacker room this class. But we really don't know anybody other than him. At least I don't. High school or transfer. There's some transfers there's some linebackers in the portal. Auburn has not offered any yet. Kind of a wait and see approach with that position. But I do think Terrence Love will be making that move down into the box. But good stuff, man. Good talking points there, Little River. Zach, keep us going, big dog.
2176. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I've heard of her.
2176. You're live.
I didn't know what she told me. Hey, man.
How you doing?
Hey, we're doing good, man. Who we got on the horn here?
This is Chris from Helena.
Who?
What's up, man?
Chris?
Chris from Helena.
What's up, Chris from Helena?
Hey, y'all may have went over it before, but I just want to know why didn't they check McCall's grades or whatever before he was even planning on coming, so this wouldn't have happened.
Okay, that's a fair question, Chris. Good question, as a matter of fact.
And then another question, I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
Who is on the back end, or who other QBs are in the maybe that we're not even talking about that may still be out there available? And I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, good stuff, Chris. I will say this about McCall. McCall didn't enter the transfer portal until Monday. At least he didn't announce his intentions until Monday. Probably didn't show up officially until Tuesday or Wednesday. It takes a day or two to get those transcripts because you got to get the front office to send here, and now we'll transfer them over there. Keith?
Yeah, some of those some school semesters ended a week ago too.
So
I don't know.
So it's not like Auburn went, oh, he's in the portal. Give me your transcript. It takes some time. And then it takes some time to go over it and compare this. Okay, can we count this towards this degree? Can you move this around? Can we count these classes towards this degree? So there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done. And Friday, before he could come, they had to clear him, and they said, no, we just can't do it. So it wasn't listen, Chris, that was one of my first things too. But after I dug around, it's like, hey, this is not something that somebody sends you a yes or no in an email, whether or not he can visit or he can transfer. So
I'll tell you what, I can give you a little insight on this because I did transfer in college. I transferred from a school to a UM, which is sort of a product, same kind of curriculum as Auburn, right? I got held back a semester or two because a credit at a school that I was at, a UM did not offer it. It didn't matter for me. I wasn't playing football. Well, I went there anyway and just had to do a couple extra semesters of work. But football players can't do that if they want to keep their eligibility intact. Okay, so that's what's going on here. Auburn's got some majors that maybe some other schools don't have, and when they try to transfer, they don't transfer. And that's where it comes from.
I had trouble with that too, except none of my credits would transfer.
Here you go.
I didn't have any. As far as other quarterbacks in the transfer portal that we haven't mentioned as being interested or receiving interest from Auburn, I don't know of any. Wait a minute. What was the Drew? Oh, shit. Was it Tate or Kirk or
what?
Carson Beck or something like that? Is that his name?
Well, Carson Beck's going to be Georgia's quarterback, I think, next year.
Yeah. Like back up.
Who's the guy? There's somebody that asked. I was asked on the corner about him, and I said I haven't heard any names. I haven't heard any interest in this. I haven't heard that name yet, but I can't remember who it was.
I don't know.
I'm going through the quarterbacks now.
Look at a 4-letter word last name, like a Tate or a Beck or a Mac.
Drew Pine.
Drew Pine. No, that's 5. No, it's not.
Oh, there you go.
Notre Dame. Drew Pine.
Was that who it was?
That's a Drew with a 4-letter last name that's in the portal.
Nice.
I would say probably Spencer Sanders if I'm looking for a prototype. I don't think they're overly interested in him now, but that's a guy, if you don't land Devin Leary and for whatever reason the academic situation does not work out with Grayson McCall, I think there's somebody that you could go back to and kind of kick the tires on and see if you have some interest. And then, look, guys, we still have time for guys to enter the portal. I think there are guys that are still playing right now that are potentially contemplating getting into the portal specifically from the G5 level.
Especially when they know that Auburn's looking for one, right?
That's right.
Correct. So I think you have to be patient. I think you have to evaluate the prospects that you truly want, guys that are better than what you have in the room right now. If they don't add to the room, you don't just take a body to take a body at this point in time.
Yeah, right.
You've got time to evaluate that as far as that's concerned. There's no rush on that. So if you don't land Leary, then you go back. Maybe you look at Spencer Sanders, who's been a Power 5 starter. Maybe you just wait and you hold steady until you get to the end of the transfer cycle. But I think that's kind of where we're at. What do you guys think?
Anthony said somebody asked me about Carlson Hubbard.
I don't even know who that is.
The name doesn't ring a bell.
No idea who that is.
I think he just made it up.
Yeah.
Hey, Jhead, speaking of being patient, man, let me keep in mind Auburn's spring semester starts January the 11th, but you can add You
Yes.
can enroll up to, I think, January the 18th.
Correct.
There's a 4-day period, January 4th through the 8th, where visits can be taken. As I reported this morning, that Auburn is down to 4 official visits. They only have 4 official visits left. They're all going to go to transfer guys in January, and they're going to bring the rest of these guys either back for the second official visit. Some of these guys have already visited, high school guys I'm talking about, or bring them in for unofficial visits.
He was talking about Hudson Card.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I told you. Carson Beck. That's what I said.
Look, at some point, if you need a guy, you're going to have to look at these guys. And
Right.
I'm sure they're not going to be caught off guard. Okay, I'm sure they probably have a list of guys. This doesn't work out with this guy. Who's
Yep.
They've got a whole staff of people. This isn't like the coaching staff in Revenge of the Nerds where one guy's doing everything. Okay, they've got a whole team of people back there, so they're going to be on top of it. But back to an earlier call, linebacker to me. They can't dilly-dally around the next month. They've got to figure something out at
They got to
linebacker.
get some guys that can play right now.
Absolutely, because there's not even much of the room small to begin with, isn't it? I mean,
Right.
now you don't see as many linebackers on the field as you used to. Jhead and Cole, you guys can explain that better, but you still need guys.
You do, but what I will say, Keith, is there are certain positions in the portal that there's a plethora of talent, and then there are certain positions that there is not. Offensive line, surprisingly, this year, Auburn's in on the talented prospects that are there. But when you look at the overall scope of it, there are not a lot of dudes that can truly play at an Auburn type level. Linebacker right now, I think Mason Cobb from Oklahoma State is the only guy that I would see as a potential fit at a place like Auburn. And everybody else is just probably less than what you actually have in the room right now. It's really tough out there. It's really, really tough. I think they're waiting to see somebody that adds to that room to jump in, but I'm with you. Eventually you got to add a body. You got to add somebody that can create some extra competition in that room.
And what about Flo?
Flo can definitely play 100%. I just don't know where we stand in that one.
Yeah. I mean, he's got everybody after him. That's the issue there.
Yeah. Well, and he's been injured too. I mean, I don't think
Raise your hand, Cole.
It's on.
He just committed to Arizona. Justin
Did he?
Hey, and speaking of Arizona, I forgot about the ninth transfer guy, but he came in. Deion Wilson. He's another guy that I think you can feel good about. Zach, keep us going, big dog.
1948. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Ebo from Fort Payne, Alabama.
Ebo. Like Ebola?
So I know Grayson McCall isn't coming. He was who I was most excited about in the portal. Who else besides that, since he's not coming, are y'all most excited about us potentially getting?
You mean a quarterback or anybody?
Just anybody overall.
Okay. We hit that a little bit earlier, Ebo, but I will say this. Here are the guys I feel good about that visited today and feel good about transfer portal-wise. I would throw Amari Kai in there with Dylan Wade, Deion Wilson, Dylan Thomas, Elijah McAllister, Ben Scott, Ra Thomas. I'm 50-50 on him.
If you can get him, that's the most exciting guy to me because of who you're matched up against, one, and two, the need, because we need a dominant outside wide receiver. You need somebody that can get vertical in the red zone like we talked about. We just didn't have enough of a physical presence at the wide receiver position this year, and it killed us in certain matchups. And Cole, I know you can attest to that.
There we go. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I like Dylan Johnson, guys. I like him.
There you go.
I think he's.
Did I say him?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. I meant to.
You're dynamic back. I don't think he's an early round draft pick. I just think he's a tough runner who, Auburn needs a guy like that always. I think he's a good fit for what Auburn's trying to do.
I think all of those guys would be huge upgrades.
I think it always goes back to the quarterback position. A healthy Devin Leary had 35 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 2021. 3,400 yards, like QB rating of like 157, pretty solid, efficient. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. So I think a healthy Devin Leary is a guy that you can look at and say, okay, you're building this offensive line. If you can get a couple pieces on the defensive line, you're looking at 8+ wins next year.
Yeah,
Those-
I mean,
Don't
Hugh
forget
Freeze.
you're facing Penn State with Cal on your schedule, which conceivably should be easier. And so I don't know. I think to me that's the guy. That's the guy I'm most curious about. I would be most excited if Auburn landed right now.
Even if he can't throw until the spring.
Yeah.
He's number one. And then, the offensive linemen that were there this weekend, Tulsa guy, Arizona State guy, the Stanford guy, man, those guys, instant starters, I think. And I know he's kind of last week's news, but I want to bring up Trace Ford again. That guy,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
major player.
And a lot of these guys would kill to play on the big stage. I mean, did you guys see the attendance at some of Stanford's games late in the season?
Oh, yeah.
1,500 people.
Yeah.
This is the big stage. So this is, and you look at the NFL, we were talking about this a week or two ago. When you look at the Super Bowl and they're telling you all the schools the guys are from, there's a lot more Bethune-Cookmans than you think and a lot less Notre Dames than you think, right? So these guys, Tulsa, they got guys in the NFL. Arizona State, they got guys in the NFL. Arizona, all these schools have guys in the NFL. They just don't have as many as the Auburns of the world. But there's good guys out there that are hungry for these types of opportunities. That's for sure.
Roll on, Zach.
2891. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Right, calling from.
Who?
You could
Right,
turn your
calling
back,
from Birmingham.
Right.
turn your background down and just talk directly into the phone, man.
I think he said
I
right.
have two questions for you guys.
All right.
Okay, I don't know if anyone noticed, but besides Alabama getting top players out of our state, Clemson is the second team to come and get players out of our state.
In Florida State.
Look at guys like Levante Bentley and Justin Ross.
Oh.
Those
that's
are guys we should have had never really leave out of the state a few years back.
Yeah.
And also, second question, do you guys think Puckett moved down to linebacker and then we're switching from a 4-2-5 to a 3-4 or a 3-3-5 defense?
Jump in here, Jhead.
I think you'll see a variety of different defenses. Obviously, 5 defensive backs is what you're largely going to see right now with the way the game is played because it's played in space. A lot of spread offenses throughout the SEC where you're looking at 3 wide receiver sets predominantly on the offensive side of the ball. So whether we're in an odd and an even front is realistically to me, it's about playing games up front and making sure you're mixing your looks so that you don't get the quarterback overly comfortable. With a 3-3-5, it allows you to bring some blitzes from different spots on the field. Allows you to mix up some things there. With a 4-2-5, to me, I like an even front. I think it gives your linebackers a little bit more protection as far as that's concerned. And when you're basing out of that, you're a little bit stouter against the run. So I think they're probably going to mix it. And Roberts has a good history of doing that. Like I said, I went back and watched the Louisiana highlights because I think that's the true definition of what you're going to get in his defense. I mean, he was working with Aranda at Baylor. That was Roberts all the way at Louisiana. And what they did there, I think, will be transferable. And they mixed fronts a good bit.
Hey, Rod, good question because today I was interviewing Deron Reed.
Deron.
Hey.
That's what I said. And Elijah McAllister. One said that they were going to run a 4-3. The other said they were going to run some 3-4. So you're talking about mixing and matching there, Jhead?
Yep.
Two different recruits at 2 different things. 4-3, 3-4. So there's going to be some mixes there. Zach, keep us going. Good stuff, Rod. Appreciate you,
I was
man.
going to jump in real quick about the defensive front. I don't know how Cole feels. Like with me playing O-line, the only way a 3-man front works is if you have a dog at defensive tackle. You have to have some size at the nose or the one tech because if he's getting pushed off the ball, when I played O-line, if you saw a 3-man front and the nose got handled, the linebackers are just on an island, and that's what I think Auburn struggled with last year is the interior guys got pushed around as good talent. So if we don't have an established inside guy D tackle, I would be super concerned running the 3-man front.
I agree.
Good stuff, Zach, in the front.
Exactly.
5407. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
It's Justin from Nashville. How y'all doing?
Doing well, Justin. What's on your mind tonight, Big O?
Well, there's a lot on my mind, but what y'all can think is good. I had a question, and I'm gonna sort of change it from what y'all were talking about. And I like Cole, Jhead, whoever expands on this, and then does it really matter what defensive front we're running outside of just what bodies per year you have? Because they're going to play so many DBs, it seems like to me it wouldn't matter. That's one. And then two, as far as Dylan Johnson kid goes, and this might just be me, does he make anybody else nervous? And maybe I'm being a little bit soft and a little bit because of Mike Leach's untimely passing, him calling him out in his extra from Mississippi State. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Good show. Good job on the site.
Appreciate you, Justin. Defensive front, fellas. Cole, Jhead.
Yeah, you're right. There's going to be four. I mean, you really almost can't get by without 5 DBs out there at all times these days. So that's the biggest thing. And then you're talking about a 4 front or a 3 front. Like Zach was saying, you got to have the stud nose if you're going to go with a 3 front. 4 front sort of helps you compensate a little bit if you don't have the stud linebackers.
Yeah.
You think your defensive front with 4 guys can get to the quarterback and can stop the run without too much linebacker help, that's what you go with. And that allows you to put more DBs on the field all the time. You can go 5 or 6 in that case. So it's all about personnel, and that's what this time of year is about. They got to get some guys that can help flip the script on that and help call the things they want to call, okay? That's the biggest.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I think where you see a lot of 3-3-5 has been in the Big 12. That's where it kind of originated, and it's gone to other places. But that was predominantly to match up speed on speed with some of these high-octane spread offenses as far as that's concerned. It's also harder to get the kind of body types that you want for an effective defensive lineman. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean, but Georgia, Alabama, Florida, those guys are falling off vines if you get the right one, okay? So it's a little bit easier to run a 4-man front in the SEC because of the, you know what I mean, your ability to be near that level of talent. It's just all over the place down here. And if we have enough bodies in the room, I think we'll probably run a lot of more 4-man front. But I think you'll get an odd front just to mix some things up, just to confuse some guys. And then, like I said, to be able to bring some exotic blitzes from different parts of the field. It's easier to kind of rotate your safeties and disguise your coverage a little bit with a 3-man front and everything else rotating in the back end. So I think you'll see a little bit of that. Now, to the question about Dylan Johnson, he did apologize, okay? And for full transparency, Leach called the kid soft. You know what I mean? That's why he transferred. That was part of the reason why he transferred. And so he fired back at him on Twitter. He's a kid. Okay, he's 22 or 21 years old. God knows if I had Twitter at 21, I would have nuked my entire career at this point, guaranteed.
Sorry, Jhead.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
Dylan Johnson, we've been texting back and forth all weekend. He came up to me and he said, and you may have seen it on Twitter, he said, I thought you were taller, man. That's like, man, if I had a dollar for every time I've heard that. And my point is, I think he just kind of says what he's thinking.
Yeah. And the kid apologized, called Leach family, said, people will disagree sometimes, but I love you. I always will. Keep swinging your sword. Yeah, he was very respectful.
I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times. Incredibly nice, respectful. I mean, if anybody could appreciate his candor, it would be the guy that's no longer with us, unfortunately. So It is what it is.
Hey, nothing wrong with a little troll. And listen, matter of fact, Jason Caldwell and I were talking later on today. And I said, after talking to Dylan Johnson, like I was so impressed with him, just the way he handled himself and us and everybody around him. I had to go up to his mama and say, as a parent, I know how important it would be somebody to come up and tell me how Brooks acts. I had to tell her, man, that dude is a fine young fella.
Good.
I mean, he was really, really good. I was very impressed with him.
Interview of the week, Jeffrey, maybe him or Elijah McAllister.
Listen, he's a guy that you hope has success, even if he goes to Alabama. Let me take that back. He's a guy you hope that has success most places. Just a really good dude, and a young father taking care of his baby. I was impressed with him. Now, anyways, all right, Zach, keep us going, big dog. I know we're about to
Yeah. Last three callers, 8237, 4085, and 3600 in that order. That'll be the last three callers of the night. 8237, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's up, fellas? This is Crawdad, man.
Crawdad!
All right.
Hey. Listen, I've been putting up Christmas decorations all day for Mrs. Crawdad.
Dude, it's like, where you been the
Hey,
past
she's
2
been
weeks?
on me since Thanksgiving about this, so.
Great day.
Hey, yeah, it's been a great day. I've missed a lot of content about you guys putting out about recruiting, but I went on free, listened to you guys, read what you wrote. Top notch, fellas.
Appreciate you, Crawdad.
That's a great job.
Appreciate that. Means a lot to
On
us, man.
top of it.
We do like that.
Yeah, let me say, I think it's with Hugh Freeze and company. I think we all have to work our asses off keeping up this recruiting content because I'm proud of what he's doing.
It's been impressive and a big difference. And this kind of lines up with somebody else that posted on the corner before we came on. Wardam 97 said, "My question for tonight is," this kind of lines up with you, Crawdad. That's why I'm throwing this in there. Can the Auburn family have hope again? I know it's early and people are split between the hires, but me personally, I see a lot of positive trend, but still iffy. But also, what are y'all's honest, true opinions on everything as it stands now with Hugh Freeze, the recruiting momentum? Crawdad, you sound like you've got a little hope.
Yeah, I do. I'm with Cole. He was my number one guy with the job. I think with production this next season and giving him more time and seeing what he's doing right now, improving recruiting, I think it's going to really help next season and forward.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just think he's a guy that can get another recruiting trail. I think he can develop guys. Keeping the staff intact be a main thing. I take that Zach's still a part of the staff. I mean, he's a guy we need to lock down for sure. He is the man.
It would be very shocking to me if Zach were to sign the class that we think he's going to sign, and then he get dumped. I would be absolutely floored.
Yeah, I couldn't see that. I couldn't see Hugh Freeze being a guy that's getting rid of a guy like Zach Etheridge. I just couldn't see it.
I agree.
He's a boss. I mean, he's a stud. I posted before. I mean, he's a stud, man. And we can't afford to lose a guy like him. But I don't think we will. I think he'll be in Auburn. But the main thing is, I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate what you guys have been doing. Like I said, I've been out of pocket all day, but reading the content you guys all posted, I know you guys have been working your asses off. It's been great, man.
Appreciate you, Crawdad. Like I said, man, that means a lot to us. It really does.
Thank you.
4085, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
The Wolf from parts unknown deep in Coleman County. I got a comment and two questions. And let me get it out because I'll probably lose you.
All right, then.
Number one, if you can't figure out how to call into a podcast and turn down your computer, don't call nobody out on the corner. Number two, first question. Larry left today without giving an interview. Did Jeff Lee overshare?
Dennis Leary?
Or whatever his name is.
If you don't know the name of the caller, of the quarterback that's visiting Auburn.
I don't even want him. I want McCall.
I hear you. What did I do?
And third, what is the earliest if we had to get him in? Could McCall get in by May? Dang. Good night.
All right, Wolf. I do not think McCall. I was told August at the earliest, and I mean that's pushing it. That's late in the summer, but maybe it was. I guess that would be the start of the season. But 30 hours is 2 full semesters. So if you're looking at spring and the summer, now he's going to be here for the fall. What are you going to do? Redshirt the guy or throw him into the mix at the beginning of the season? This seems very highly unlikely. As far as Devin Leary, although I do appreciate the the mix-up there. Dennis Leary.
Dennis, yeah.
Devin Leary. Did I share too much? I don't think I shared much of anything, did I?
No, you said he no commented, but you've heard good things. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, he's saying basically when a guy no comments, they end up going to Auburn. I think it's kind of what he's.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
not always.
Usually a good sign. Hey, Wolf, we're howling at you, big dog. Keep us rolling, Zach.
This is it. Last call.
Night 3600. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Uh-oh, the Wolf is going to be on his ass.
Injury right now. It is.
3600. You could just talk straight to the phone. Turn down your background, please.
Somebody come up and tell me how Brooks is at.
Oh, wow.
Dude, he's way behind.
Yeah.
3,600. Did we lose him?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. That's all right. 3,600. We'll get you next week, or big dog. We are planning on we got a big week coming up at Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member, man, you absolutely should be, because this week's going to be, you're going to get your money's worth in the first week. Keith and I will be back in the morning with Inside the 20. We're going to have a live signing day show rolling through the first half of Wednesday, and then we're probably going to end up doing another call-in show Wednesday night, do a live show for some questions on some of these recruits that Auburn is signing, some of the recruits that don't. But we are expecting some very positive momentum moving forward. We've got our eyes on several recruits coming up in the next 48 hours that could be committing. We're going to be keeping our eye on Braden Marshall, the UCF defensive back commitment, Isaiah Miller, the JUCO offensive tackle, Elijah McAllister, Dylan Wade, the transfer, Ben Scott, the transfer. There's going to be several guys. Isaiah Jhead will be making the decision, the junior college tackle who visited Colorado this weekend. So a lot going on in the next 72 hours, and we're going to be doing it all at Auburn Live on 3. Again, if you're not a member, give us a chance, $25 until September. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's free, folks. It would help us out a great deal. We don't want super chats or tips or whatever the hell they call it. We don't want $1 stuck in our G-string. We just want you to like and subscribe our YouTube channel. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, if you're in Auburn or Opelika looking to sell your house, maybe even looking to buy one, give Jessica Andrews a call at eXp Realty, 334-704-4442. She can do it all, folks. Now, if I get anything, hey, we're going to have hot boards up tonight, updated, and there's going to be some positive trends. We're going to update the portal tracker, positive trends. A lot of things looking good for Auburn heading into these last 72 hours before the early signing period begins. Thanks so much, everybody. We appreciate everybody that called in. We appreciate Blake R. and J2 for the tips, although they did it against my will. We'll be having a conversation with both of those. Anthony got us started. How about Ben, Jeremy? Edward. Edward from Selma. You know, I'm going to be seeing you about middle of January down there, big dog. Alan from Sylacauga. Dominique, Little River. Chris. Evo, Rod, Justin, Crawdad, man, and the Wolf. look at Keith.
This is a long goodbye, I got to tell you.
I'm going to start letting Keith go after the last call. It's cutting him off. All right, folks, listen up. We'll be back in the morning. Check us out. Auburn Live on 3. For Keith.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. For Keith, for Jhead, for Ping, for Zach in the back who moved to the front, but now he's in the back. I'm Jeffrey Lee. Man, y'all stay out of the left lane.